Ooh, Joe, we're live.
We live?
I think so. We could be live.
We're live.
Are we live? That's nice.
Well, I just got a notification. It caught me spinning on my bike.
You know, in hindsight, these Tech Tuesday things are a great idea. However, I think maybe we should schedule them a little bit later in the morning so we don't have to rush.
Or we just record them another time and push them in like they're live.
No, that's not fair to the users. Our users demand live content.
Are they demanding this right now?
I don't know. I'm
not sure that they're demanding that.
They will be.
This is the first one, so they might not be demanding anything.
That's true. They could find out that it just sucks. Well, welcome to our first episode of Tech Tuesday, everyone. I'm Jim Christian, one of the co-founders of the DMO, and then I have my compatriot, Joe Sinkwitz, also a co-founder of the DMO. We decided that we would...
TJ.
What was that?
Notably absent. TJ.
Yeah, well, we don't like that guy. We wanted to do something for you guys that would be educational and also kind of fun. So we're gonna tear down some websites every Tuesday, and hopefully the thing that you'll get out of this is some of the things and tricks that we use to figure out what's wrong with websites. I myself, a former GoDaddy director of SEO, felt that GoDaddy would be a fantastic first target. So I think we will do them first, which will be great. And then, as the weeks go on, we'll start to select different sites. If you guys have a website that you'd like us to review, we're more than happy to do that as well. Again, the purpose of this isn't to make whoever is running the site feel bad, but more or less to expose very easy to solve problems that will change the direction of the website and hopefully garner more rankings. The reason why I think we chose GoDaddy, one, was to make it a lot easier for us for this first one, but also I pretty much know all of the problems that reside at GoDaddy, at least as of 6 years ago, and apparently they're still there. So this should be a breeze, to say the least. So if you aren't familiar with GoDaddy, I don't know how you couldn't be, but GoDaddy obviously is one of the largest domain name providers in the world. They also have branched off into doing other services like hosting, SSL certificates, WordPress, blah, 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 blah. So, Joe, where do we want to start? Do we want to start just looking at it and wondering why they changed the logo? I don't think that has any SEO value, but
you could start there for sure. I mean, you have the background on that stuff.
It is ugly. I don't like it.
A lot of people, it takes a consulting company to come in and says, you need a new logo. That's going to be $700,000.
This is funny. It's funny how they've changed everything here. Well, I can tell you that in my experience at GoDaddy, the number one thing that they were always concerned about was ranking very high for the very best vanity keywords. So domain names, web hosting, SSL certificates, everything I kind of mentioned before as far as their products are concerned. That was my main goal, is to try to get these things ranked as high as possible. And for the most part, I think we were number 1 to number 3 for almost all of them. And it took quite a bit of finessing to get there. After leaving GoDaddy, things changed, as they always do. And one of the things that was always difficult with GoDaddy's, I guess, marketing / UX department was trying to fight the fight of saying, hey, this might be a product landing page, but we really do need content. And, it was really challenging, to say the least. But as you can see, GoDaddy does not have a lot of content on this homepage. I mean, it's got some, but not what I would want necessarily. They've got the stuff at the bottom, which is, I guess, just fodder. I don't even think that it's going to provide any value, but it is interesting. The one thing that I can tell you, though, is that the homepage always ranked number 1 for domain names. From the time that I started until the time that I left, it was always number 1. It's no longer the case. It was floating around number 6, I think, in the position, and now I guess it's number 2, but it's on a different page. So they've actually made the migration to their domain name search page, which is actually pretty good, but still not garnering that number 1. What I found was interesting is that as they started to go into these other products, they kind of diluted the homepage for domain names. And in fact, if you do a search for domain names, oops, wrong tab. Domain name appears 8 times, but domain names only appears once, and it's in the title tag too. I think at this point, at least, what they should probably do with this homepage is just change the title tag to like GoDaddy something, just give up. There's no purpose for it to fight for domain names. You've already got another page ranking for it. It doesn't seem logical to me. What are your thoughts, Jojo?
I mean, I prefer to split stuff out in the core products and focus that way. I know before we got kicked off, we were talking about doing that as well. And so they could ancillarily mention something or mention the most important phrase on the index and just focus on that, like the splitting off the SSLs and whatnot. Mm-hmm. When it's my turn, I'm going to dive into something because it looks like we're going to talk about the same thing from a couple of different angles. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here.
You tease. You're such a tease.
Yeah, that's me.
But I love that about you. So caring. So, some of the things that I noticed too is they started to add these partner pages up here, which I think is interesting. I don't think it's a really good idea, personally. From my perspective, I would probably no follow these just because they don't lead to actual products. Your products are going to be more important than I think your partners or their affiliates. It is interesting that they've put it up there, but I personally would not have these followed. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Do you think it's part of like an advertising thing that they're doing?
They always tried to push the affiliate stuff. I think who knows what their ideas are right now, right? But it was always an important thing to, I love this joke. We'll get to that in a minute. They were always pushing affiliates. The affiliates did a really good job. The problem was that the affiliates were so cutthroat, man. They would just do every single thing that you would never want them to do to just try to sell domain names and the products and services at GoDaddy. And we would put up a page, and within 24 hours, there would be like, I don't know, a couple hundred copies where people had just stole the text on the page and just, done their own site. And then like trying to get legal to send out all of these cease and desist letters, never worked. And most of the people were in a different country. It was just not fun endeavor. But at any rate, I'll go on. So yeah, I would no follow these. One of the other things that GoDaddy does, which I personally don't like, is they've got this, I think it's in 2 places actually, but they've got this country selector down here that's really sticky. So like if I go into, let's just go into Italiano. So I go to Italy, right? And if I try to go anywhere else, it's obviously going to stick. Oh, look, they have this subdomain still for this one. So, it'll stick. It's very difficult to get off of it. I mean, I don't know. To me, it just seems a little bit overkill. And again, they have all of it crawlable, which I think is a somewhat good idea. But let's see if they have the country selector up here. I think they got rid of it. They did. So yeah. So the only way that you can get to the country selector is down at the bottom. So if you were in a different country, let's say I was in Italy and I wanted English, you'd have to know that it's all the way down here because they're going to serve you the Italian page for sure in Italian. So I don't know. To me, it's a little bit overkill. I don't necessarily like it. But let's get into some of the problems that we noticed just for fun. So one thing that we noticed right now is that hold on, let me get back to the freaking English one. Where is it? USA. There we go. You would think that they would put it in order of preference too. US first. But no. So one of the things that was always a problem with GoDaddy was backlinks. So hopefully you guys can sort of see my screen. I think I will expand it a little bit, see if that helps.
I can see all the red and orange. I know what that means in Ahrefs.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So there's currently 238,615 total backlinks that are broken with GoDaddy. Now, at one point in time, there were millions and millions of links. It was so bad that it took about 8 to 9 months to actively fix all of those, and I don't even think we got all of them fixed. But we got a large majority of them. But it is interesting. This is one of the things, like, I love Ahrefs. If you don't have it or you've never used it, it is an invaluable tool specifically for this problem, which is to identify broken backlinks and allow you to fix them. So for me, this is bread and butter, man. This is total bread and butter. Try to figure out what is going on here and fix these links. Like, you could easily rank higher for a lot of your keyword terms. And it doesn't make sense why you would just leave this stuff sitting here. I mean, have a developer work on this would probably take, I don't know, a month, maybe less. I mean, depending on how much work this guy has, but it would be very easy to fix. I mean, just turn them into 301s and fix the damn thing. Another tool that I like using is Systrix. Joe, have you used Systrix?
Yeah, in the past.
It's great. I love it. So if you guys want to track your SEO visibility, Systrix is a great tool. I think it's a little bit more accurate than some of the other tools that I've seen out there for SEO visibility. And it automatically puts Google updates in there. Sometimes it's missing, so I don't know why they don't have it in here, like the one in May. But as you can see, no bueno for GoDaddy. They've definitely lost a lot of their visibility over the last 4 years. So it is interesting. I left, by the way, in 2016, I think, or 15 or 16. I left somewhere around here. So it's interesting that this has gone down, and obviously this happened right during a core update. So this is another thing to look at. I know that GoDaddy, being a large enterprise organization, as most large enterprise organizations are, they have issues. So that's coming down from a coding perspective and from just, well, who knows, that they have problems. I think we all know. Not just them, it's all enterprises. But yeah. We noticed earlier, is it not going to do it because I expanded it now? Damn it. Oh, here we go. Oh, look at that. It's not doing it anymore.
It was more of a responsive issue.
Yeah, so it's a responsive issue. We had the window a little bit more closed here. That's so weird. It must have just done it like right on that 1 pixel. It's so horrible. Oh well. So we noticed that there was some problems with the navigation. It was popping up another menu down here, and you couldn't even read it because it was bleeding into this. Not that that's an SEO problem, but it was just annoying. Another thing that is really important, I'll show you some of the source code here for GoDaddy. One of the things that GoDaddy employs is they have their CDN where they have all of their stuff. So it's these IMG6 or IMG1, WSIMG. It's all of these different URLs that are in here, and there's a bunch of them. I don't know how many in total there are, but what I find interesting and not necessarily cool, and this is something that I pointed out to them a long time ago that apparently was never fixed, but your CDNs you should probably protect. In this particular example, what I'm showing you is I've done a site command for one of their servers, and I specifically put GoDaddy in here. And in some of these, we'll see what this says. In some of these, you can actually see the GoDaddy internal documents that they have saved. These are contracts and other things that are specifically internal only, yet they have all of it here for everyone to see. So if you're ever going against a competitor, one fun thing to do is to do something like this and try to figure out if there's anything in there juicy that you can get, because it will be in there every once in a while. So I think that's what I have for right now, Joe. I'm going to turn it over for you for a little bit, and then I'm going to load some more stuff in, and then we can get back.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I should say before you start, if anyone has any questions, you can type them into the comments below, either on Facebook or on YouTube, and we can see them live. So type in some questions if you have them. But if not, then sit there quietly.
Let me try to share my screen. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, can you? Or I have to.
Well, you think you have to stop yours. Oh, there's mine. All right, do you see the beautiful market brew? Yes, you do. All right, before we begin, so the way I approached this was looking at by domain, and don't be distracted. I am on a exercise bike desk because I'm crazy. I've done 40 miles today.
Me too.
All right, so by domain. This was very different yesterday before I have to do this properly and take off my glasses for the wink bug algorithmic update that went live yesterday. I could have sworn I didn't see domains.google at the #1 spot. It is there now. So whatever, you can get a sense of the large general players for this. When I started the analysis with Market Brew, and it is a tool that I like playing with, it is complex. It is definitely for enterprises. I think the bigger the site and the hairier the problems, the more impactful this type of tool is. It's my co-founder, Scott Stouffer. He's one of the DMO members and an advertiser at some of our shows. So supporting him, he gave us a license to play around. This is pretty cool. So I put in a couple phrases related to buying domains. I wanted to get an understanding of what does this tool think of the entire market. And what it does is it creates its own search model based on the variables that it tries to reverse engineer for what's currently live in Google. Their thesis is that you can make a variety of changes in order to better match what the algorithm is currently looking for and improve. Obviously, like all tools, there's going to be caveats to this, but I have found some success testing with it personally, so that's why I chose this for today. The first thing I want to do is take a look at this reach score down here. What it's letting us know is for the limited amount of information that I provided it with regards to buying a domain, it believes that Namecheap is the 800-pound gorilla. It thinks that the Namecheap gets about 33% of the overall reach. Now, if I was to recalculate this today, that wouldn't be the same because of the domains.google change. So since we're looking at GoDaddy, we're saying, okay, a little under 10%. What's going on with it? The first thing I want to show, and I think this is the most impactful for an enterprise like GoDaddy, is this link flow. What this is doing is it's looking on a crawl basis to try to determine how is link equity spreading throughout the site. It's graphing it. Because it's such a large site and they have such bloated menus, especially at the footer, it's spreading it to a whole bunch of pages that it probably shouldn't. So if I was GoDaddy's head of search, I would take a closer look to see, like, well, what is getting the most value? For whatever reason, the pro link is getting the most value. Is that what they care about the most? I'm going to guess they really don't. I'm going to guess that they should not be promoting it so much. Why is it show the pro? I can get into some of the reportings. It has to do with how many links that are probably coming from other high-value pages to pro. I had the similar issue, but this is kind of bad. The secondary one is the Spanish page for pro. Again, that mega menu in the footer is the source of a lot of problems. If they start removing some of the unnecessary navigation and take a harder look at how they're interlinking and try to interlink better in terms of promoting those pages that they know they have a positive ROI on based on the efforts and the expected outcomes, they'll improve significantly. One of the things that if you notice is if I hover over, it says need more link flow. So what it's trying to do as a model is determine what page was the most important for that phrase. And it's thinking that pro page is, and it's saying, well, I don't know what to do. You're clearly linking to it the most within the site, but it's not related to the actual product. It's about developers and management and tools versus the index page, which is mostly about GoDaddy. We have to search around to find out, which one is actually about buying a domain. It's not real clear. That is a problem. So we're going to get into that slightly here. If I go over to take a look at the simulation stats from Market Brew, what it's trying to let me know is that the page that best matched it from a qualitative point of view was the domains page on GoDaddy, which is probably right. They're saying, okay, well, what's the most wrong with it that we could fix? They break things into 3 focuses: semantic focus, link focus, and domain focus. Domain focus is the off-page links, the stuff that you're getting external into your site. It's not determining that that's the big problem, and it's not. GoDaddy has a ton of link equity. Now, if they went ahead and fixed some of the issues that Jim was pointing to from the Ahrefs report, that would help, of course. But the biggest issue is how they're spreading the equity within the site once they get it. It's a mess. That's according to this particular model, roughly 2/3 of what could be fixed. The other 1/3 being market focus. What that's looking for there is the basic stuff. Is the keyword appearing somewhere in the URL string? Is it appearing in title, meta description, that sort of stuff? Is it being mentioned on page? And then beyond that, it's going to be looking for, are there any issues? Those issues being penalty factors. What those penalty factors usually do is reduce the amount of flow that is probably being passed on. So their thesis in this model is, if there's a problematic page and you're pushing a lot of juice into that particular page, it may not even be passing on the equivalent amount back out because there's some issue related to it. Think of it kind of like a clog. That's kind of oversimplified, but that's sort of how this particular model works. For this particular instance, the issue was duplicate content issues, where 74% match from page to page in other areas. When you have crazy mega menus and extended menus and reusing modules and content modules all over the place, that's going to happen. And while it's not really stuff that can help reducing, I think it's more of an issue of the content problems. But the biggest thing that they could do to fix their situation would be to reduce that navigation quite a bit. If we wanted to, we can go and dive into specific stuff. Like, we mentioned like the broken links, Jim. How long this one takes to load. This is kind of a heavy report. The Market Brew will also report on broken links within the domain. I'd say that's probably got to be the priority here. So just taking a look here, in a lot of cases, they're just dropping stuff because they're linking, they're linking to this where it has an improperly closed tag as part of the Ahrefs. So they're doing this all over the place. It's a fairly large report of just real simple stuff. They're linking into improper subdomains and garbage, and this is breaking. They're just throwing it away. So just cleaning little things up like that would go a long way.
Yep.
I could turn it back to you.
Give me a little bit.
No. So that was Market Brew as a whole. It is. I'm not an expert on this particular tool. I want to say the user manual is well over 100 pages, and it's really in depth. I've played the most with it in trying to just see if I could improve link flow efficiency within my own projects, and that's been really interesting. Because for instance, like a pricing page. I know on my my index page, I'll throw links to the pricing page because that's where I kind of want people to go. But it's definitely not the most important one from a search perspective. It's just that's where I want to flow the traffic. So that's helped me to reframe how I think about providing a different experience from user versus search, just in that regard. Changing that, I did pick up some more ranks. So, there's some power to that. Obviously, too, I mean, just by being a completionist, you running any sort of audit tool can help to just, fix the low-hanging fruit errors. I know Jim and I are both a huge fan of Siteball. And so we run that internally on our stuff all the time just to see, like, where'd we miss something? Where'd we fuck up? When you're doing as much as I think everyone is doing, It's always going to happen because you have different, code deploys going live, and someone's making changes in WordPress, and someone's doing something funky to the server. Like, it happens. So we like to run that. Running Market Brew on top of it, and then I'm playing a little bit to see how far along Ahrefs audit tools come. In the past, it was pretty light. It didn't really give you a whole lot beyond, some broken link issues and their interpretation of what was incorrect. I want to take a deeper look at that one maybe next week to see just how much further they've progressed as a tool. If there's other tools you want us to play with for these weekly chats, please let us know. Just like you can give us a temporary account so we can play with it just to kind of test drive it. Additionally, if you are a tool owner and you want to come on the show to sort of show how your tool can be used, that'd be really helpful too. Because if we use the same tool for, a different tool for the same website, it'd be interesting to see whether it discovers the same problems or uncovers new ones.
Yep, agreed. Now, Joe and I reluctantly haven't had enough time to spend on GoDaddy. I guess we probably don't want to spend a ton of time on GoDaddy.
It's almost like we have jobs.
It's almost like we've got 14 jobs. So I think what we'll do in coming weeks, obviously, is we'll focus on, maybe half a day or something of reviewing a site and really taking a look at it. Nice shot, JoJo. Oh, did you? We'll spend some more time on there, but just to go back to GoDaddy and some of the stuff. So here's their robots.txt file, which is lengthy to say the friggin' least. There is a lot of stuff in here, but it's interesting that for sitemaps, they actually don't have that much listed in here. And I actually started to go down a rabbit hole real quick on this. This regular sitemap leads to a sitemap that is a CDS and CMS sitemap, similar to like what you see here, just not for France. And then that leads to, a really gnarly looking sitemap that's got all the hreflang tags in there. What's interesting about this, though, is that I know at one point, and I didn't add it up on their menu down below, but at one point, GoDaddy was open to 64 markets, and I count about 24 or 23 in here. So what's really interesting is why aren't the other markets in here? Why are they leaving these other countries out? Now, granted, going international is a crazy endeavor. A lot of people don't know what it takes to actually go international, but it is a lot. You have to have your servers in clusters in various locations around the world. You have to have all of the translation and localization in place. You have to have all the hreflang in place, and you have to start, fixing your content on 64, at least in this case, 64 different websites all at once to make sure that the unified message goes out to all your different versions of the site. So while I do commend them on having sitemaps, which was always difficult over there, by the way, there seems to be a lot missing here. And I think I even saw duplicates. So here's www here, and that's www France, and that's www ES. Oh no, here it is again. So yeah, so they have dupes, so their sitemaps are all goofy right now, especially with the hreflang. These are all things that are very easy to fix. Adding additional hreflang tags would not be hard. I personally wouldn't put it in the sitemap. I mean, you could, I guess, but I would rather have it on the page. I don't know. I guess that's probably personal preference, but I don't really think that Google pays attention too much to the sitemap version of the hreflang tags. To me, it's just I think they skip it, and especially if the sitemap is wrought with problems, it's going to be really difficult and challenging for Google to want to crawl and index the sitemap in the first place. So bad news on that. Let's see, what else could we talk about? I know that, oh, by the way, Joe, when I had this thing, this was all tripping out again too. There's something wrong with this. It's so funny. So let's go through some of their other pages. Again, this is their domain name search page. This is now the page that ranks for domain name or domain names, I should say. And it's very specific. Let's see how many times, but they still only have domain names on here once. God damn it. It's so upsetting. And again, they have all of their stuff down below. I've seen other websites try to employ this. This was something that I actually baked in years and years and years ago, back in like 2006 or 2007, was to put all the text down here. But, you know, it unfortunately doesn't necessarily work anymore. It should be up here, which they do have some text. I'll give them something, but it's not very good. And this little slide thing is kind of pointless. So yeah, you know, I think that their focus obviously is to try to sell as much stuff as possible. But one of the other things that's useful for you guys, if you haven't used it yet, I remember when I was over there, they were like, "We need to sell more domain names. We need these things going out faster than you can count." And I was like, "Well, there's a problem with that." And they said, "What?" And I said, "Well, domain names aren't selling anymore." And they're like, "You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. What do you mean it's not selling anymore?" And I went and I showed them this graph. I was like, "Hey guys, so here's the thing. Domain names aren't really selling anymore. We need to start thinking about our other products." And they were moving that direction anyway, so it didn't really matter. But you know, you can take your own organization and you can start to look at, you know, you can start to look at some of the main terms and see if you're following, you know, a trend that's going up or a trend that's going down. Oh my God. But, you know, as a whole, you can kind of see where I'm going with the whole GoDaddy product line. It's not looking good. But, you know, it just happens to be one of those things where, you know, there are going to be positive keywords in here. There are going to be things that they can kind of take from this and run with. But it is going to involve a large amount of search to try to find the right keywords, the ones that are going up, and then also diversify the products so that you can match into those keywords. You know, one of the things I think GoDaddy is doing right, though, is, let's see.
I found some more stuff from when you're done, and it's bad.
Why don't you go with that? Go ahead and share it. I'm going to go look up their community real quick.
All right. So I first was playing with some page speed. I want to see something. And I kept running into Lighthouse error. So like HTTP, no www.godaddy.com, the request fails. It doesn't even redirect it out.
Nice.
Let's see, like you can do the same for www.http. That one goes through. All right, so how about HTTPS?
Oh, try trailing slash, no trailing slash. That was
yeah, I bet you they have issues. Yeah. Oh, I'm having a different issue. Sorry, Aaron Wall. I didn't mean to get your troll. But I wanted to see like how slow is it? It's obviously slow. You know, page speed insights I take with a grain of salt, but I do look at in terms like I want speed to be quick for the user, not necessarily for the search engine, because I want to sell them something quickly. They're fairly slow on the first contentful paint in large contentful paint. That can go a long way to fixing. They're the high blocking time, which is kind of weird. So I probably want to look in to see what's going on. It says big DOM, main thread. So they could probably do some lazy loading, reduce JavaScript execution time. There's things they could fix. I have no idea how much is this currently impacting their search, but I bet it's impacting their sales, which I care about. So,
yep, I would.
It's a redirect. Come on.
I think I might have found something too. I'm actually trying to look at it. Oh no, it reads it. I was looking at their here. I'll share it. One of the things that Joe and I have found in working together, actually Bartosz, who we love and care about, and who's probably sleeping right now, he has this really cool tool, WWJD. What would JavaScript do? And it's really interesting to put side by side a URL and be able to see, you know, the JavaScript disabled versus enabled. And one of the things that their community with GoDaddy was plagued with was they originally had a community where everything was basically built off of JavaScript, and JavaScript was blocked. So you couldn't actually parse any of the data inside. None of it was indexed. And I was like, bro, this has got to go. So it's nice to see that they've actually done that. Joe and I were working on a website in the aerospace industry, and the entire site was blank. We went to this tool, and it was like white sheet, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" And sure enough, it was the same thing. This is what we found. We went into the CDN. The CDN had a robots.txt that blocked all bots from going into it, so Google couldn't go parse the JavaScript that was on the server. And they had a nice empty site, so it was kind of fun. What else do you think we could talk about, JoJo?
I mean, shoot, you can keep going and keep going. That's probably plenty. If anyone from GoDaddy is listening, that fix the nav, clean up some of that JavaScript load that's pretty slow, add that redirect. And I mean, I'm sure you're already looking at the broken links, but throwing someone on it for the internal stuff and then the external stuff, it's only going to pay dividends.
Yep. And again, too, blocking that server that has all of their contracts would probably be a smart move as well.
That seems like a security hole.
Yeah, it's no bueno. Well, I think that's all we have for today. Again, these will be somewhere between a half an hour and an hour long as we go through it. And I'm sure we'll find websites that are more than an hour of talking, but we're glad that all of you could join us today. Share and I guess share to all of your friends if you want. And if you haven't done it, join the DMO, the Digital Marketers Organization. It's $4.99 a month. It's $4.99 a month, I should say. So it's a cheap, inexpensive, community filled with a couple thousand marketers, and we're growing every day. So thanks, everyone. We really appreciate you guys coming, and we'll see you next week on Tech Tuesday. See you guys.
Bye.